We're going? You know what? I'm not going to open this with
What?
what Aiden was just talking about.
Missing out on some quality content.
But as a reminder, leave your questions in the comments. I'm going to get through a couple of things, and then we're going to address the last few questions that were asked from the last live last week. So make sure to leave your questions. Even if you're watching this after the fact, put your questions in. We'll address them next week or whenever we go live again. You guys know Mahe and I well. Lesser known, but just as important, Kenny and Aiden. And this is really Core Team Hawaii, where we have Kenji behind the camera, and we have our two assistants, Charlotte and Zyrell. And so I want to start with that. I want to acknowledge our team. We're doing great. We're doing amazing in a down year. Hey, bro.
Sorry, I wanted to know.
So, well, first I want to acknowledge everyone. So, start with Mahe. Mahe, you're doing an awesome job again. No, you're doing an awesome job again this year. I think probably your most productive year when we look at the numbers. Were you surprised to learn that?
Yeah,
right.
Very surprised.
Yeah, so we are, most productive year, but also a better year, and so you're back in the gym, all that stuff. So a great year overall. Everyone who watches this channel knows how important Mahe is to this team, even if you don't know the business aspect and how the organization is structured. Amazing job. Kenny came on mid-year. We changed brokerages. Someone else was leaving the team, and Kenny came to this YouTube channel. So that's interesting because Kenny came. I told him, don't go into real estate. You'd be crazy to do it. If you're crazy enough, let me know. I'll introduce you to our brokerage. And he did. And, cards on the table. Kenny was like, I'd like to join the team. Wasn't the decision in the beginning, because Kenny, was chasing his own goals more as an individual. And then the timing was just perfect. It's been awesome. I'm glad we waited, but I'm also glad we started. Great job. Thank you. Aiden, so impressive. Aiden's our youngest guy, but in a lot of ways our best. Lights up the room, keeps me accountable in the gym, and is just always either yes, I got you, or already ahead of you. So I really, really appreciate it. Kenji doesn't get as much stardom, but he's behind the camera here, and literally this whole thing isn't happening without Kenji. You guys on this platform I don't even need to elaborate for you guys, because you guys are the benefactors of all this content, this great quality, lighting and whatever, all this technical stuff. But then the amazing videos. There's incredible nuance. Like, we just did our Big Island video, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But it's so fun getting to collaborate on storyline and techniques and nuance, and we ended it. I looked at this one. Get some more room.
That's much better.
Get some more room.
So, let me know.
You gonna wear that?
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, and Zai. So we got some compliments from some, I don't want to out these people, setting confidence, but from some industry partners and stuff recently, that we are just at the best. I don't know how to say it humbly, but we got some acknowledgement. Like,
humble brag.
You guys are the best, and a lot of that.
They said it, not you.
What I told them is, we have amazing people in the right seats on the right bus. A lot of that has to do with our back end. So Zyrell, awesome job. Charlotte, awesome job. She has a job as our assistant where she calls you. As soon as you come into the website, she calls you. She has certain days off. So then you come in on a Saturday and no one calls you right away. So she got to make up for it on Sunday. And anyways, it can be a thankless job. But thank you to both Zyrell and Charlotte. Huge part of this team as well. And thank you guys to all these fans and clients. On that note, we currently are at 71 transactions closed for $59.7 million in production. we are projected to close 77 if everything in escrow closes for 64.8 million. That's a increase from last year.
That's an
What
increase
was
from
last year's number?
54.6.
Wow.
That's about a $10 million increase last year with a lower price point. So higher production because the market's down.
Mhm.
And interest rates are
Interest
extremely
rates
high.
are up, homes cost less. So our price point may have gone down a little organically, but also our average price point, but also the market has gone down. I'd have to do that research. But that's huge.
Yeah.
People are getting out of this industry right now.
I was just gonna
And
say
we
that.
are increasing. So if you go from, it was 54 to 64. If you went from 90 to be 10%, so is that like a 20? I can't math. I only can do 2.5%, 3% commission. I don't know. We're 15, 20% increase or something year over year, and one of the worst years in real estate in recent history.
Mhm.
So amazing props to our team. We started this year, 18 months ago or so ago, we weren't this 7-person Navy SEAL team. We were trying to become it. So anyways, enough about us, but I just want to acknowledge my team with a bit of an audience. Amazing job. So today we're gonna get into some random things that no one talks about. I told the team, just come up with random off the wall stuff that no one would ever, no other agent, no other travel vlog is going to tell you these things about Hawaii or acknowledge them or point them out or dive into them. But first, there were a couple questions from last time, which Kenji emailed me.
The audacity.
The audacity to send me an email on a live stream. Banter is our love language. So he said, talk about lower here. Cue us up.
Oh, your boy, the moderator. Talk about lower interest rates and refinance. What happened? You buy with less than 20% rates, go down, and you rush to refi, but market drop, and you owe more than house is worth. Explain the risk. I read that word for word.
Okay,
I'm trying to
I think you need to read that one.
talk about lower interest rates and refining. What happens when you buy with less than 20 down? So you have PMI. Rates go down and you rush to refi. Okay, so you put 10% down, you want to refi, but the market drops and you owe more than the house is worth. Explain the risk.
Kind of supply and demand.
Oh, I see. It depends on how much it drops. I'm gonna save this one actually for when Jody comes on. That's our lender partner. She'd be better suited to ask it. But if the market were to drop too much, you're not gonna be able to refi.
Right.
The good news is if the market drops and we're in some sort of economic downturn that's causing that, so jobs went sideways or national or international conflict, something, chances are now post 2008 too big to fail GM type bailouts, AIG GM type bailouts, the government has this manipulation lever, and they pull it by lowering rates. And so, the Fed lowers, but anyways, eventually following that catastrophe, there would be nice low rates to refi into. But we're going to re-ask that whenever Jody comes back, probably next week. What we got next?
I cue this one for Kenny. How's staying in Ocean Point? My parents are interested in the area, both retirees. How is the surrounding area in terms of convenience, shopping, groceries, etc.?
Second half of that question is it doesn't get much more convenient. It feels like the mainland. We talk about that being a challenge sometimes, or a challenge question. As you come here, do you want to be quintessentially Hawaiian with where you live? Do you want the koalas? Do you want a beach view? What about amenities, and how far away from amenities am I to get that versus the opposite? If I blindfold you and put you into Ocean Point, you land, blindfold, drive to Ocean Point, you feel like you're in Arizona or Colorado or Southern California. Everything that you could imagine that you have where you are on the mainland is there. Safeway, most of the fast food stuff, most of the restaurants, Olive Garden, Cheesecake Factory,
Incorporated America shopping.
All of that is there.
What do you call it, Mahe? The quintuplet or
The Holy Quadrant.
the Holy Quadrant? I think that's Kapolei, but it's
Yeah,
close.
but it's right there.
Yeah.
It's what?
What's the Holy Quadrant, since we brought it up?
Like
Kapolei adjacent.
Target, Ulta, TJ Maxx, Ross, but then also there's like Marshalls, and also across the street is Costco.
So we call it the Holy Quadrant because we don't know what's after quad.
It's like the holy.
We gotta Google it.
Holy hexagon, like
I think the quadrant works if you just say all four
those four
of those
that in
things
that
are
thing.
within that quad.
Yeah.
Like they're literally on the four corners of the intersection plus
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
What else about Ocean Point living?
So my mom's actually thinking about buying a house here too. So this one actually hits home for me, and I'm thinking about it as we speak. One of my things is that there's not a lot of senior retiree living active
Like 55 plus communities
on the island.
There's
senior
one in
living,
Mililani Malka, right? But
I mean, I've been like recently like heavily looking into this for my dad.
Yeah.
So there are actually a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
But they're in like varying, like they're mostly like rental stuff. They're not, you know, they're not like for purchase.
Yeah.
So that we really don't have like a strong market for that. Like Olaloa, I don't know. There's one in Hawaii Kai too, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But an interesting thing that you bring that up in Eva Beach, because you can see the contrast, because new construction is on slab
Mm-hmm.
and traditional Hawaii construction is 3 feet up on post and pier. Eva Beach probably has more situations that you can like ADA retrofit because it's low to the ground, just little ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why? I wonder. And there's those shopping centers that are big and wide because a lot of Hawaii where it's non-incorporated might be like Kalihi town, harder kind of to navigate.
Yeah.
And so Eva Beach, fair, retirement place.
But we talked about that too when
There's
we did
plenty
the
of retirees
video.
in Ocean Point that are, they're the people that you would expect to live in that active senior community. And so it's as far as accessibility and walkability, all of those things that are important for people that are starting to age, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for that. It's flat.
Yeah.
It's not very hilly. You're not going to break your legs. You're not climbing a bunch of hills. You're not, there's a lot of first floor bedrooms, that kind of thing. So it's the availability to make it work is perfect. My mind just says, why isn't there more of? It would be a perfect area for a
retirement community,
active community.
Well, they're generally less profitable, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
because
they're cheaper.
Yeah, you're shrinking the market to the amount of people that are eligible, right?
Was there any specific Ocean Point or just general? How's Ocean Point living? Yes. Yeah, there was
Wide sidewalks.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wide sidewalks.
Sidewalks
in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sidewalks in Ocean Point, not all of Ocean Point, in Hawakale in particular, you actually have like the dotted line on the sidewalk. So there's directional. You walk your dog this way on that side and that way on that side.
Oh, really?
Fancy.
The bike does the little.
Well, let's get a little negative. That's also representative of like the rules.
Sure. No,
because Ho'akale, I made a joke earlier because Kenny said, "Oh, Mahe could live in Ho'akale." I was like, "I'm pretty sure Mahe's tattoos
I'm non-compliant.
are against some Ho'akale HOA guidelines."
Yeah.
So
the ADA
both are true.
compliant and doing a slab and adding on, that's going to be hard to do unless you're in older EVA, because the HOA, generally speaking, isn't going to allow for you to add on unless it was one of the original plans. You got to get it permitted and passed by HOA. So 100% right. That's a big negative. HOAs are generally very low compared to the rest of the island there. You're going to get cable and internet to go with. So affordability on that side with HOA, very, very, very accessible.
Yeah.
But the rules suck.
I think too, Ho'akale is cool now because you have the Ho'akale Country Club. If you're, if that's kind of thing you're into and you can afford that, and then the Waikai, basically Top Golf for surf, but it's like a park of water activity. I don't want to say water park, obviously, but it's
because there's no slides. It's not wet and wild.
Ocean activity park, but it's cool. And when we did our video and we came across Uncle and stuff, and it's just a cool place for like a mom to go take her coffee or uncle to go walking if he's a senior.
Yeah.
So Eva Beach, Ocean Point, it's a cool place. negatives. Just run. We'll run through this and go to the next thing.
Traffic,
traffic,
Yes.
HOA, hot.
HOA,
Yep.
AC systems. You're gonna have to pay more for your energy to
Central.
have AC.
Some split, but mostly central. So yeah, you're gonna pay more.
And it just doesn't feel like Hawaii in a lot of places. Yeah,
What?
street parking.
A lot of people street park.
depending on your community.
and parking is street parking is specifically not allowed and doesn't. It's very intentional. So that's
Yeah.
a pro and a con. It makes the house, makes the neighborhood look nice.
Yep.
But then also, you're trying to throw a party.
Right.
You got to reserve the Wakale water,
Yeah.
part thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do we have any more questions from last time, or do we have questions stacking up? We have new
We got
questions.
some new questions.
Let's
So
do it.
a couple came in about the OpenAI guy, Sam Altman.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So apparently he bought a $43 million house, either on the island somewhere, and they're
Sam,
asking
why you
where-
never hit us up? Sam,
Dude,
Sam,
Yo, boy, I
AI
use
should
ChatGPT.
show you this channel, bro.
Yeah. But he was wondering if we knew where that house was.
Did he buy the Sullivan estate?
Let me
No,
let
but
me
that's like
look.
the highest price thing that was up there.
was it?
So
Sam Alt.
Or did he
Yeah.
get something off market?
I
on
bet he
Koko'o?
just like went someplace and just offered a
Oh, here we go.
egregious amount of money like that
I
other
wonder if
It can
Black
share
Point
screen or
person
what?
did.
No can.
No.
Okay. Including an unknown Hawaii estate.
Hmm.
Okay, no, there's just the headline.
That
and
feels
that's it.
Maui to me. Is it
But
Oahu?
does it say
or-
Oahu?
It says estate ultra.
I bet you Maui. Yeah.
feels like a Maui's. That's where like the very wealthy buy
His-
property.
His 12-bedroom Kailua Kona mansion was scooped up in
Kailua
2021.
Okay,
Kailua
that's
Kona.
something else.
Yeah,
though,
2021.
from before.
reading
Oh,
through this.
but we
Interesting.
just went to Kailua Kona, and if I did want someplace to retreat
Mhm.
and on a no, well, obviously
This is kind of like Lahaina.
if I wanted to retreat to something, man, Kailua Kona views are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, Aiden's working on finding out where Sam Altman lives. We had Sam, if you're watching, we have a
What's
client.
up?
Shout outs to Jeff, right?
Shout out to Jeff.
Shout outs to
Jeff.
Jeff. He was invited to the AI conference that you were, and I think met you. So hit up Jeff next time you're gonna buy, Sam. Any more questions on there?
Yeah, we do got questions. Sorry.
Aiden's
I got
committed to the
sidetracked
outcome. He's
to
committed to
finding
the
where this
outcome.
guy lives. 43 minutes.
That's not weird at all.
The 4 questions that we have are where's your boy? Where's your boy at?
What?
Oh,
Sam
same.
Altman.
They're asking about.
it's all reiterating.
Oh,
the same
everyone's
thing.
reiterating.
Mm.
Yeah. Or
I guess is that big real estate Hawaii news right now? I guess so.
does Facebook CEO own a whole island? What's his name?
No,
Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg.
No, and I don't want to speak too deep into it, but what he did was he bought a bunch of land on Kauai, and then in his purchase and consolidation, he landlocked other people who own land. So they might through inheritance and Kuleana lands own like a 32nd of an acre, or these smaller portions of land that are very important to these Hawaiian families. And so the drama kind of around that, they did this where's the name escaping me? The name, I can't think of it. They did this thing where you basically it's like a silent takeover. You publish in the paper, hey, I'm trying to get the land. If no one responds or whatever, they take it and give the people money. But a lot of people, I don't want your money, I want my land. And so there was that. I don't know all sides from the legal process and whatever, but he bought a lot of Kauai. He bought a good chunk of Kauai. The Oracle guy owns almost all of Lanai.
Mhm.
And then Oprah is probably the biggest,
She scooped up more. Yeah.
she scooped up a lot on Maui.
after
Big Island, I don't know if there's probably like a person or two who owns big chunks of Big Island, but one, it's big, so there's land to be had. And then there's like Parker Ranch and
Mhm.
these things on Big
Yeah.
Island.
Yeah.
So it looks
How'd
like
you You have another question?
No. Just kind of going back to the Sam Altman.
Sam Altman.
It looks like it was unreported and just recently found out, but he bought it in July 2021. $43 million estate next to the reconstructed Kamehameha
statue
temple.
Where's that at?
I might be, Royal Temple of King Kamehameha the First.
Big Island then, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Kailua Kona.
Yeah, that's
12
the
bedroom.
Kona.
That's
Yeah,
the one.
yeah.
It was just not disclosed, but he bought it in 2021.
Man, $43 million in Kona.
I wonder what that even
views-
looks like. Like,
You want me to read the amenities?
No. Oh, you're real into stalking Sam Altman, huh?
I was just scrolling.
Well, I wanted to stack us up with your guys' questions. Mahe,
Yeah.
you hadn't been to Big Island for a while.
Mhm.
We went, spoke at this conference, and filmed videos. So we got it's performing well too. Yeah, the average view duration and stuff. Our Big Island video is performing well, but you hadn't been for a long time, and apparently where you used to stay when you did go
Mhm.
was pretty country.
It's pretty country.
What's
compared
your
to,
new reaction? Did you you have a new romance with? Because that hotel is cool too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the nicest in terms of the carpet and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like it's
Oh
on the
man, and when they
ocean
renovate
and-
that hotel, gonna be so expensive to stay there. So
Yeah.
pro tip: get into the Outrigger Kona Resort now before they renovate everything
Yeah.
because the views is major.
Kona Outrigger
Kona
Resort and Spa.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no more spa right now.
But
I
the
think.
spa shut down.
Yeah. But anyway,
Pool
Um,
is amazing major.
yeah,
The
pool's
pool is great.
nice. The ocean view is nice. Depending on like where you are, you can see like manta rays in the water. We saw like dolphins and stuff from our lanai the next day too. Like it was nice. It was really nice. We had a good time. I mean, a little bit like rebar is sticking out of all the sides of all the like, all the building gets falling and everything. But
That's stuff that we're worried about.
we don't care. Like
Yeah, I don't own it.
I don't own the building,
Yeah, I don't own
So
it.
but yeah, it was fun. And my overarching kind of like idea of the Big Island prior to revisiting and going back again was that it was just super slow and very country. Like, and that's just kind of like what my impression was, because when we were growing up and like my kid's dad, his family is from there. So when we would go visit, that's where we would stay. And it's Kona, but it's like Captain Cook and it's like KA, which is even more nuanced than just like Captain Cook. It's like KA.
Yeah, like
Captain
in the
Cook.
video, you said if they were gonna pick you up from the airport, they were gonna make a Costco run too.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was like an hour or something, maybe like 45 minutes to get to the house from like town, like airport.
But an hour in Hawaii with no traffic, desolate island, just is like kind of an eternity.
Yeah.
So they were like, we're gonna go Costco if we're
Yeah.
gonna come get you.
And when we were like driving it as like adults who drive, it was like, oh, I mean, that's okay. Like that's just an hour. It's 45 minutes, hour, if you go fast, whatever. And I was like, damn, that felt like 5 hours when we were like growing up and kids, but my idea is, I think because we just slammed so many things in one day, like we started in Kona at the resort. We drove through KA and like pointed out like, this is where your dad's family is from. And this is the church that, we used to go to, and your papa used to fall asleep and snore in the back and, like super loud. And there's only like 20 people in the church to begin with, we had his funeral there and everything. And that's where your papa's ashes are scattered down there. And then we like drove all the way around and we hit like the Thurston lava tubes, and we saw, we walked through like jungle and that. I mean, the day started at 79 degrees. Okay. Like temperature wise.
Yeah.
The day started at 79 degrees. We went to Thurston lava tubes. We walked through the jungle. We saw like the devastation, fields like where the lava flow. Emancipation Proclamation, alliteration.
Inside jokes.
But we like saw, where the lava flow was. And then we drove to Hilo, and we we just got like super lucky. And it's like that weird off season between, like fall break and winter break. So it's not peaking like tourism wise.
Yeah.
So there weren't a ton of people. So everything was like, easy to get in, easy to park, easy to see. We went to Anuenue or Rainbow Falls in Hilo.
That's a huge one now.
Which is like huge, and it had been
Like,
raining,
you're
right?
not
So
jumping
it's like,
off those.
No, you're like looking at it. You're not
That's-
swimming in
that's
it.
a big,
Yeah, that's for make. Like you cannot
For
go
what?
for make.
What does that mean?
That's for like to die. Like,
To die,
yeah, you can't.
I was hoping you changed the 4 to 2 because it would only been an incomplete translation.
to die.
That's for die.
That's for
Like,
die.
That's to die. That's for Mahe.
So we did the waterfall. We looked at the waterfall, and then we hit like Suisun's like fish market, which is normally like super crowded. You can't even get in there. You know, no line, no nothing. We just went over there, ate at Hilo Bay. You know, had lunch on a picnic table.
Hilo Bay. What is that?
Continue, or it's
not Hilo though. All the way in Hilo.
It's in Hilo. It's not really like.
Oh, you guys went all the way Hilo.
We were in Hilo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we were like
A lot
in
of
Hilo.
driving.
Yeah, we drove all day.
Well, let's use that driving point to pivot. So,
Mhm.
living. How can you see? Like, do we have clients who come in and you're like, you know what? I think even though you can afford Oahu, maybe you should go Big Island because like road tripping is important to you, or you're more of a small town farm girl, or like because Big Island is like gives like Indiana, Nebraska vibes in terms of nothing to do. You know?
Yeah. Generally speaking, no, because the clients who are like, they want other things too that just you just can't get there. Like we talk about it a lot where there are certain things that Oahu has that you just can't get on any of the other islands, but there are aspects of the other islands that you can achieve on Oahu if you really look for it and if you are willing to drive and if you're willing to do XYZ. And Big Island is one of those islands where I feel like it doesn't super translate. Like you can't truly get like all the things you or like the types of experiences you can get on the Big Island that you can on Oahu. But like if you want country, then okay, maybe you go Ka'ava. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could do that. But it also the other side of that coin is like healthcare, that kind of stuff, like amenity, you know, proximity to things like
you gotta really be about that country life.
Yes.
Because you're gonna get bored. You know the guy who was speaking when we walked into the event? Tall guy.
Yes.
He and his wife are from California. And I was asking him, how's it going? Whatever. And he's like, because I met them Mother's Day weekend when I spoke at their last event. And we had, you know, got acquainted, became friends. And he's like, man. And at the time they're like,
oh, wait, he lives Big Island?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that he like flew in from someplace else.
Yeah. So he's like, no, not the ones that spoke after us.
Yeah.
But
The one
speaking
who did
when
like
we
the
got
AI
there.
something. Like he was doing like a chat
Yeah,
GPT.
something. But anyways, he last time I met them, they were like, we love it here, man. It was just so amazing. And
Less than a year ago, right? Mother's Day.
Mother's Day was 6 months, 7 months, whatever. And then this time he was like, yeah, we're thinking about moving to Oahu. And I was like, why? What happened? He's like, man, there's just like, you know, he's talking about business. He's like, there were 30 homes sold here last month in this whole MLS. Like, you know, all realtors did 30 homes on Oahu, 300 or something like that. Yeah. And he was like, it just feels like we've been on a really long vacation. Yeah. You know, it's like basically the what's the word I always use? The blank is wearing off. The novelty.
The novelty
is wearing off for them. And that happens when people move Big Island, Maui. Big Island, probably the most gross example of it. Not disgusting gross, like exaggerated example. Yeah. Because people move like, oh, I'm gonna move to Big Island and catch my water and hunt my food.
Yes. And then you're like, oh my God, I gotta catch my water. I gotta hunt my food.
No more bumming. Yeah, exactly, right. So they were an example of that. Not quite to the extent of they moved off the grid, which people do on the Big Island. But most people just aren't about. They aren't like recluse nomads. Like it's just that's something to fantasize about. You know, it's romantic, but they really aren't that. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. So I think not my opinion, but like how, I guess kind of my opinion or how I feel about Big Island, like, cause my other half, my fiance, he like is always thinking about retirement. Like every single day he's thinking about retirement.
That's military.
Yeah. And he's like 10 more years. That's so close. I'm like, what? That's so far. But he's very like retirement like oriented when it comes to his like what he looks at and the things he thinks about.
That's why I had to get out of the military. I was like, we're not focusing on like future, but anyways, not to disparage the military.
But he's
awesome.
he's a planner. and he likes to look at Big Island all the time. And he's like, "Are you sure? No. Are we sure? No, you don't want to retire there." I'm like, "I'm freaking positive."
Well,
like,
your boy is from Delaware,
but he's a country boy,
He's
right?
a country
so like,
boy. Yeah,
he's okay with that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, but like, we'll see. And he'd only been there like on vacation as well, and then for work they do a lot of stuff over there too.
Yeah.
But then we went and we took the kids, and it's got more than I remembered having, because we didn't spend time there when I was growing up. But still, at the end of the day, like, it's still remote. It's still like, yeah, there are certain pockets of neighborhood. Like, we saw some luxury stuff. And some luxury stuff that's like, for our price points on Oahu, were like manageable, like you can get a luxury property, a luxury type home for like price points over here that wouldn't be luxury, you know? So I did get to see a different lens, because I'm in real estate now. So
top producer now.
I mean, just a different lens, you know what I mean? But still, for me, like, it's still very remote, and it's still like, yeah, you have stuff here in Kailua Kona that you need, but not as many things, there's not as many options.
So there would still be an expiration for you.
Yeah.
It might be longer now, because you could position yourself in Kona, have some friends.
Yeah.
Paddle canoe. You probably be on that canoe.
The canoe paddling game is strong on the Big Island. Like, that community is huge, but like surfing wise, like the beach, like laying around on the ocean or on the beach wise, like that's different. Like, the water community is like solid over there, but it's like fishing, diving, canoe paddling.
You think
like,
of retirement, like early retirement, not I need medical all the time retirement. You could do a stint in Kona.
Maybe. I mean, if you really wanted to.
So still if you wanted to.
Yes, but
we got more questions.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's still, but one thing I will say about Big Island that I am just like blown away by is just the level of like microclimate change. You know what I mean? Because
they're saying Big Island I know Hawaii, but I think also Big Island has 12 of the 13 climates.
Just missing the glacier one. Like all the other ones. And in the same day, we went from bright, sunny, and it was 79 degrees in the morning, so meaning like it was hotter than that later in the day in Kailua Kona.
Yeah.
And we ended our day at the summit of Mauna Kea in 36 degrees with snow on the ground and snow falling from the sky.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, that's how we ended our day. Like,
that's so awesome. Shave ice
yeah,
all around.
and it just, I mean, I'm talking my kids screaming when we come around the corner because they can see snow. We have unsuccessfully tried to see snow in many different locations many times. Like, it's always the roads are closed, it's too much sleet, whatever. But it just like everything kind of lined up for it to be so. The magical like aspect of the island, what it looks like, the newness of it, the plant life,
there's
like
energy.
There's an energy there. The how huge the plants are. Like, I'm talking hapu'u ferns that normally we see are like this big. You could like
because we know like hapu'u ferns.
Google hapu'u fern. Okay, like you can. They're tree looking ferns that can be like this big on Oahu, right? And like, they're like trees that we were like walking under, So the island is magic. It's living, it's breathing, it's in like varying stages of life. And it's just, you can't, there is just like nothing like it.
Hey, Kim is here. We're casual guy. Of course, we know if she wants to sneak in there and hang with you, that's fine. But whatever, just text her, see what she wants. All right, we have some questions lined up, but I'm gonna make it a theme. So we're gonna get going and move along, answer these quick. In between, I told our team to bring just random facts that no one would talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So
are we starting on that already?
Well, we got questions. So we're going to ask a question or two, and then we're going to touch just one or two of these random facts.
All right. Tyler says, hello, I am 26, about 100K saved and zero debt. I'm interested in moving to Hawaii, Oahu, for 3 to 5 years. Should I rent or buy? I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Chattanooga. Okay. Right on. Oh, my dad lives in Nashville, which is why I'm like, oh, Chattanooga. I'm a big fan of Tennessee. And look, orange and white even. I would buy 5 years, 5 year stay. This is really the same question as military.
Mm-hmm.
Right, military, you're typically going to be here 3 to 5 years, 4-year billet with a 1-year extension. And I have go to a video, or maybe Kenji can throw it in the comments, but we have a video. It says VA loan, infinite returns. We just had a shout outs to our buyer, Bryson. We had a guy come in who was like, local brada. He's like, I'm a veteran. I never used my VA loan. And in that video, we talk about worst case scenario. What if 2008 happens again? What if the market goes down?
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, because I want to be concise, my personal risk to benefit measure is that the juice is worth the squeeze. The risk is worth the benefit, because what is your contingency plan? You move back to Chattanooga, you keep this thing here. So we're in a down market like 2023. You keep this home here, rent it out. Even if you have to rent it for a loss, what's 500 times 12? 6,000. Even if you have to rent it for a loss for a year, 2 years, let's say 3 years, 18,000 over 3 years. If you run the appreciation models, it's that investment is so worth it. And chances are, I don't know you, Tyler, but I'm not that guy in the stock market or any other play. Like, real estate's mindless. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. It's not timing the market, it's time in the market. If you buy 3 to 5 years, you're not walking away with cash. Historically speaking, if you hold it for a couple more years, you're going to make up for that negative rent and then some. So that's a more nuanced way to answer like the veteran active duty question, should you buy? And you're kind of in the same boat. So for me, yeah, for sure. Because also, you buy over here, put your $100,000 down, whatever. I know Chattanooga, like if you need to buy a house in Chattanooga, you could get into something for 150, 200 grand as needed. So,
Tyler, let's talk. Hit us up, and then I'll share you a spreadsheet. I can make you a video, or we could jump on a call together, and I can break down this spreadsheet. I love this conversation. Yeah, hit us up, coreteamaway.com, and then let's get on that spreadsheet game.
Yeah, Aiden made a custom spreadsheet for this, and he'll model, well, what if 3% appreciation? What if 4%? And send you a little Loom video. What we got next?
I can fire this one off. I see plenty of chickens in Hawaii, but I yet to see a rooster or hear a rooster crow in the morning. Why?
Because you don't live Wahiwa, or
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was like,
or,
I can't get away from them, so I don't know.
I mean,
Whole
even
families crossing roads, like chickens.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're lucky. I think you're just lucky. I just got lucky, I guess. Yeah. Anyway.
Get plenty.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, did you have any like random facts you can? What's one
Random fact
that no one talks about?
Question nobody talks about.
Yeah, what's something nobody talks about? That
the first question my mom had about potentially buying here. She's in that phase of life where she's ready to get closer to the grandkids and come this way. I'll just go to the bank and get some stuff going. I was like, no, there's no mainland banks on the island. Where you bank doesn't exist here, and that changes the game.
Oh, she was going to go to her mainland bank.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can I go get some cash out of my account? No. You can do it on your phone. You can do it in a modern way.
Are you talking about for getting a loan?
Just in general. Like, it's not like a Bank of America ATM.
And I
or
feel
something.
like I've had multiple different clients along the way say, oh, I'll just write a check, or I'll just go to the bank and get some cash out for the inspection. Or
we've had some escrows held up because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're thinking of coming here, know that wiring is going to be a part of it, and or you might want to open up an account with a Hawaiian bank.
Oh, you kept it professional with your fact. Well, that factoid leads into one of mine, so I'll hit it real quick. We're a very who you know place.
Oh yeah.
It's a good old boy system.
Yeah.
Oh wow, how you got that job? Well, my uncle got me in.
Yeah.
Or,
It's a word of mouth coconut wireless environment over here.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
And so that's with real estate, like, oh yeah, that lender's my cousin. I know them, or I close a lot of deals with them. It's always good to use a local lender no matter where you go, but I think it's more pronounced here with jobs, who you know.
Yeah.
Schools.
Yeah.
You got into Momilani Elementary, like the private public school? Public private school? Oh, who you knew? Sports. How you got on that soccer team? Who you know? And I don't know the full answer to it, but knowing how Hawaii bureaucracy and politics go, why do you think we know more mainland banks here? There's no Bank of America. There's no Wells. There's no Chase. None of these banks exist here. And I bet you in some kind of special dinners and mixers at country clubs that people keep it that way on purpose, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but curious. Huh? What's the like Kermit with the
tea
with the tea?
with the interesting or whatever.
What is how do they say it? Like,
but that's none of my business.
Yeah. Like we can't get any banks here, but that's none of my business. I don't mind it. I like seeing Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian and stuff. It helps keep Hawaii, but interesting. And I think it just leads into the coconut wireless culture.
Yeah.
What else we got on there?
All right. So Jennifer says, question mark, before the question. Which is better for country living, Waimanalo or Waianae?
Depends what kind of country living we're talking about. But in the natural sense,
she followed up. She said, combination of dry and wet, but no extreme wetness.
Waimanalo, but I mean, Waianae is like not wet at all. So you're not going to get no wet. And it's remote, but it's not necessarily country. Like there's certain pockets that have like more Aggie type stuff of like plants and farms, but Waimanalo is definitely more like what you would like a classic, you know.
Waianae is more West Texas, Arizona farm kind things, South Colorado.
Waimanalo is like
Waianae is that.
Can have a wetland kalo like lo'i patch. Like,
yes, Kenji just came from what? Can you put it live? Kenji just came from like knee deep, thigh deep lo'i. Lo'i is the kalo farm.
And like Waimanalo has like horses, you know, and Waianae does not. So like depends what kind of country you're looking for.
Waimanalo is special.
Yes.
There's
lots of like Hawaiian homelands and Waimanalo, so it's not like there's a bunch of like opportunity for just anybody to just like buy over there. It's not like an area, and it's
it's its own thing.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
You should should drive. You should make sure that's for you. You should get out, talk to someone, and make sure that's for you and you're for them. And but Waimanalo is a beautiful, special place. But if the thing was, but I need a minimum of 10 acres because I have horses that need to run and I only got X amount of money, it's probably going to be Waianae, so yeah.
Moving on. We got Rambler says, does the natural progression of upgrading to a new place happen in Hawaii? Example, studio apartment when I'm single, 2-bedroom when you get married, and then 3-bedroom / townhouse single family when you have kids.
I have a loaded answer. So I want to give you guys the floor. What would you say to that?
I would say yes, but I would also say that the natural progression in which we may see this in like other states happens differently here. The timing of things may happen differently. Like it may not be like, oh, I am, married now and have 2 kids and now we're up in our single family. It may be that, but now we're getting into a condo for the first time ever, so our market is just different. It's getting into the market may be a little bit harder and more steep of a reach to get to. So our starter homes may be, condos with like full on families already, instead of it being like a single, 20-year-old guy, getting a studio. Like, yes,
you have to, but kind of same, but to any young local person out there, you have to get that studio.
Please do.
You have to get that one.
I've been having this conversation with like locals coming back, and I'm like, hey, don't you wish like your mom told you to like, or your parents taught you anything about money or wealth building or real estate or any of that? I'm like, man, how behind the curve are we on these kids who are like so solid now and like are thinking? I'm like, that's how we have to. We cannot be shamed. You please do not be embarrassed to be starting at whatever age you are, because we just generationally here in Hawaii, culturally, like we're not taught that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different places. There's a lot of places where the real estate is as expensive as it is. Like we just like rent forever.
Right.
Don't ask questions, make however much you can, get by. Please don't do that. Call us. Let's talk about it. Please don't be embarrassed to be starting where you thought, like where you see a 20-year-old or 21-year-old starting. Like who cares? Like you got to start in Hawaii. You have to get your foot in the door. If you want to stay here, and we want you to stay here, please call us, get your foot in the door, whatever it is, whatever that first step is, whatever that first investment is. Doesn't have to be your forever home. So don't be heartbroken if you cannot afford that $1 million single family home. We cannot. Everybody just cannot do that.
Yeah. I got two things on that.
Just call and get something. You really just need to start.
I appreciate the passion to this topic. So 2 things. One, you mentioned something about it's not just like hopping and skipping from property to property. It's like my dad lives in Tennessee. You got Chattanooga on the live feed. There, you can jump from your $200,000 to your $300,000 home. Like you get married and you add income in the mainland with not historically every 100. It's not the case right now because interest rates are higher. But for every 100,000 you borrow, historically it's about $500 a month. So if you're gonna jump from 200 to 400, and 400 puts you in a dope place, a nice place in Tennessee, then I mean, compared to Hawaii, 400, you add that spouse's income and you're there. That's not necessarily the case in Hawaii. So instead of just casual, frivolous leaps across the river, like just hop and skip, crossing the river up to the nice, white picket fence. In Hawaii, it's like there's raging waters and you got to make these jumps from condo to single family.
Yeah.
And the only way you do that is you root yourself in real estate as early as possible. And so when I moved home, so many people, I worked at Stanford. I was in the Coast Guard. I got a degree. I did all this stuff. They're like, oh, that's cool. I started construction. I bought a house and I bought another one. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You did it so much better. The other thing about that is if you're local and you're going to move to the mainland, consider keeping that home.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to go, oh, I'm going to sell here and get a nice home in Texas. But if you decide you want to come home, it's a lot harder to break back into this market.
Yeah.
Our friend Kenj, David, had hit me up like, hey, I might go to the mainland. I want you to sell my home. I was like, bro, you don't want to keep it? Because I want to see you be able to change your mind if you want to change your mind. So if you're local and you're trying to underwrite that, you're like, yeah, I want to get a nice home in Vegas or whatever. Like, call us. My instinct is I want to try and run the numbers and figure out how you can keep your home.
Yeah, HELOC a down payment on something that's small that you can afford those payments in Vegas anyway. Keep your house here. Like,
keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it. Live smaller in Vegas. And so if in 10 years, if you're like, I'm never leaving or whatever, then go big. Sell over here and,
But like, it's not even a lot of people, and like, we don't even realize that we want to come home till we have kids, right?
Yes.
And then what do you do?
Or dad gets old.
Or dad gets old. Yeah. Like, give yourself the chance to give your kids that life too, because you don't think about it till you have them. And then when you do have them, you realize like, oh my God, like it can be very difficult to come back home. So, we don't go.
Wow.
No,
what's one of your random facts before we go to the next question?
One of my random facts
about Hawaii.
And this is kind of to piggyback off of your, like, the novelty wearing off situation. I have a lot of like friends who are transplants and maybe not necessarily who bought, thankfully, knock on wood, not yet, who the novelty wears off and then they realize that, oh, Hawaii can't fix me. Like,
don't you ever? Did you look at my paper?
Sure, I did, but I had a better point for that. So
you did look at my
No, not your paper. Look, it's in my notes already.
No, it's not.
You want to make a bet? It's number 1 in my notes. Let me just show you. Look when this notes was made.
Okay.
Anyway. Hawaii is beautiful and Hawaii has healing factors to it, but Hawaii cannot fix you and Hawaii cannot heal you.
Wherever you go,
there you are. So there's like this initial change of scenery that everybody's like, yeah, I love it. I ran away from everything. I ran away from all my problems. But what they forget is that you ran away and you're now isolated in the middle of the ocean. Not only did you run away from your problems and you didn't fix it, but now you're isolated and your friends and family aren't here anymore. Yeah. So Hawaii can become, depending on where your headspace is, one of those places where life is really miserable for you because you're very isolated. So, just remember that Hawaii is beautiful and it can be a beautiful place to come do your healing if you're doing the work to do that. But your problems follow you here and it becomes a lot more intensified when you are now isolated away from everything, just not only like geographically, but just,
I think you should do your healing in the worst place possible.
Yes.
I think you should do your healing in the gutter,
Yeah.
Bit of stoicism. I don't know if Marcus Aurelius used gutter,
I don't think so.
but I think you should do your healing in the gutter and then
Yeah.
come to the pasture that is
Mhm.
Hawaii. But it also won't fix your relationship.
Oh no.
So like my sister moved here. I was like 19, 18,
Mhm.
18. I think I was 18. She moved here, and their marriage was failing, and it didn't fix it. You know, like,
Mhm.
it's not gonna fix it. So, all right, move on to another question, please.
Rai asks, how is Kailua in May? Let's just talk weather.
I was
Well-
such a smart ass. Not no.
I feel
Not-
like I know, and I don't need you to say it.
Not
You say it at the same time.
No,
No,
no.
no, not smart to you, but just to the ethers. Like if I could be funny, is my point. It's solid. I mean, Kailua is not too different anytime. I mean, just like the island, it's rainier in the winter
Mhm.
and not as rainy in the summer.
What do you mean though? Like you trying to come visit and you want to know like how busy it's gonna be? That
It's
type,
more of a
or
tourist question.
Yeah.
But one thing I can say is tourism increases, Kailua traffic increase. Like
Yeah.
Kailua increases.
the
right?
weather gets nice, and therefore, if there's if school's out and there's a break or whatever, you're gonna get more. You're just gonna have more foot traffic, more people there.
When we were young, did you think of Kailua as like one of the tourist destinations
No.
of this island?
No,
I didn't either. I think the internet just got out, like coffee shops, acai places,
I don't even
breakfast spots.
I can't even
hikes.
remember what Kailua looked like when we were like younger. I don't know like what did Kailua Beach Road look like before like the whole like Whole Foods and all that stuff was there. Like I don't remember what it even
Yeah,
was
it wasn't like that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like that.
Stucco shopping center.
Yeah.
Like it looks like Palo Alto kind of right now
Mhm.
or something. Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
Yeah.
cool though.
It's nice. Yeah.
Not unless Kenji says. All right, give us another question. How many do we have?
We got one. We got two.
Two.
We got
Okay, we're gonna try and
Three.
run through it. We're gonna
Okay,
try and be
okay,
done
okay,
in the
okay.
next 15, 20. We'll see.
Larry Tran.
Larry!
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry actually said, how's it, Core Team Hawaii? Just wanted to say aloha. I'm still looking for the home there. Just wanted to let you know when it's the one.
Mhm.
Thanks, Team Mahe and Kenny.
Woohoo.
All right.
Awesome.
Follow-up question is, Honolulu Board of Water Supply recently adopted rate increases estimated to be over 50% over the next 5 years. Can you give us some numbers, some money examples with your own water usage based on your home type?
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife pays my bills.
I mean,
so-
it's supposed to like generally speaking be like
You know how-
$25 per person for like the normal amount of like usage.
So
Like,
now it's about to be 50
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be 30 and then 35 and then 40, 45 and
Yeah.
50 per person.
yeah. So just like generally speaking, that's how much. That's like if you're single family. Typically that fee is built into your HOA. So I wonder how that's going to affect like the raises in the HOA prices. There'll be like probably a slight uptick down the road for that to account for that. Not that it's like,
Yeah, it's interesting actually. HOA fees will increase because of water.
so
I didn't think about it in that context.
so
It's probably a little
something-
more for us. We don't water our grass though, because Malka, you don't really have to. You guys,
It's quite a bit more for us.
I was going to say, but like we
How
live
much
in
is your
Atlanta
water bill?
anyway.
We do our best to keep it under 200 a month. Just
With-
four of us.
with 4 but 2 little
And
kids.
2 little kids, so more,
Lots of laundry too
more
and stuff,
laundry,
yeah.
more baths, all that kind of.
And you guys have irrigation.
and we have irrigation
Mm.
front and back,
Mhm.
and it's not part of HOA or maintenance, single family home.
And
So
you're able to keep it 200?
175.
Okay,
that's
that's
pretty
not
good.
I would
bad.
say an average if I was filling out an SRPDS in the 3 months, it
Yeah.
would probably be 160 to
Disclosure
190. So yeah, it's a little bit more. In a weird way, I've done this with my father-in-law who lives in the Fairfield, Northern California, between San Francisco and Sacramento. His is about $20 a month less. So I think that means it's more because it's just him and his wife. It's just my mother.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And they have a bigger lawn.
Mhm.
They have a pool. They have a bigger front
Oh,
yard.
okay.
But it's just the 2 of them. So maybe it
Yeah.
balances out. His is always he's about $20-$30 a month less, 150-ish.
All right.
Good
what
question.
We got? What we got next?
Profess LCH question. What are the random boom and explosions that I hear often early morning or in the middle of the night when riding through Ala Moana / Kaka'ako.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say like
Mililani.
Mililani.
That's what I thought too. And I
'Cause-
saw Ala Moana. I was like, I am not gonna speak.
Random booms early in the morning.
You
I
think
wonder.
planes?
Well, I wonder if they're getting started with the construction. So then there's like stuff dropping in those high
Ooh.
rises and stuff,
And it's just echoey.
or just like garbage trucks, New York style, like hit a
Mhm.
speed bump type thing.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Aiden, what was one of your random facts? What's a random Hawaii fact?
Gyms.
I was gonna do gyms too,
Gyms.
but I'm not surprised you did it. Okay.
So you've got I guess you could call it 3 main gyms, 2 main gyms. You got 24-hour fitness and you've got UFC, and then an honorable mention of Planet Fitness. They've got a couple locations.
Easy with the,
Honorable mention.
I mean, there's also Anytime Fitness if we want to talk about.
There's an Anytime Fitness here?
Do we have
There's
that here?
multiple.
Really? I guess 4?
Oh, yeah.
D
There
and
is.
them
That's right.
own one,
That's right.
4.
Yeah.
My bad. Anytime you can find it. But all of the gyms are super packed once it hits 3 p.m. because you've got the high schoolers that are getting off school. You've got military because the barracks apparently are just. I can't speak to this, but when I used to work at 24th, the military guys would be like, "I'm going to sign up for a membership." I'm like,
Don't
"You
have
got
free?
you have a free membership
Yeah.
on base," and they're like, "That gym is so not great." And
No,
they're
the base gyms are great,
but they're really crowded.
but the ratio of men to women. If you're a 20-something-year-old man, you're trying to go to a civilian gym.
I
That's
see.
all I'm saying. Not that I know that.
I got told I had to leave the gym on base if I didn't cover my midriff.
Yeah,
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, are you serious right now?
I
I'm like,
believe that. You
this
would.
is like a matter
get
of
kicked
national
out.
security. That pico is.
It's very conservative. Some marine bases,
But then,
you
like,
cannot wear slippers. You gotta wear shoes.
some other people had like super short shorts. I was like, oh, you know what it is? The gym attendant had his muckas on
Yeah.
on my other half. So I was like, oh, you don't like me. That's okay. It's like, I can borrow his sweater then because that's my man.
Easy.
And you can't fight me.
Easy. But one thing they don't tell you is Hawaiian girls.
Oh, yeah. You got
Crazy.
today. My brother, like, hey, you told Kyle he's sure or what? Like, local titas is something else. I'm like, oh, he's aware. Like,
I was wondering if a couple, how the disclosure statement was filled out.
The
If a
tettos.
couple missing items, but
Nah,
that's not for me.
he knows.
NTMK.
But not to my knowledge, is well, honorable mention. There are a couple serious powerlifting and bodybuilding gyms on the side though, and we might do a video on this. So yeah, our gym, and we have CrossFit boxes all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So you're not gonna have like probably in Atlanta, Nashville, Austin, Dallas. There's these like really cool one-off gyms and whatever. We don't have a lot of that, which
Yeah.
gets into one of my other things. Incorporated versus not. Hawaii is very, very incorporated, or Oahu, I should say, is very, very incorporated, but then also somehow not. And what I usually see that is in mainstream shopping, like there's parts of the mainland where they're like, ew, you go to Walmart? You don't go to Target?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's parts of the mainland where it's like Walmart is just but you got to live there to understand where they're coming
Yeah.
from, though.
It's like a different beast.
Have you
It's
seen,
not like
have you seen,
Mililani
people of
Walmart,
Walmart
Yes.
Instagram page? Yeah, so
It's not like Mililani where you just
come
like,
back, we'll revisit.
yeah. But then on Walmart, you have like super centers too that
Yeah.
are cool. So, anyways, Hawaii's very, very incorporated. I remember when I moved back home because we never in the Bay Area, Target was prominent and there was hardly Walmarts.
Mhm.
Where in the Oakland, like
yeah.
area. And the Walmart off of Hagenberger in Oakland, bro, it's nuts. But when I came back home, I had my friend who's, just to be quiet, he's just a narcissist. Like he associates like I'm better than everyone. And he was like, he said something to the effect of like, bro, you're gonna have to see people at Walmart here. And I remember it sticking out because I was like, oh, even you who thinks you're part of the supreme race better than everyone,
Mhm.
you go to Walmart. You know how I'm talking about her, yeah. But he's like, you got to go to Walmart in Hawaii. So we're very incorporated, but then also we're very not in terms of food, especially. Like
Yeah.
Japanese, Korean dives and stuff, Filipino dives. There's certain things we're just not incorporated in. So it's a unique mix. I could be even more nuanced and say our coffee shop game, if you're coming from a place like California, our coffee shop game is weak.
Yeah.
My wife's a huge coffee shop proponent and connoisseur.
Unless you go Big Island, they have plenty.
Big Island is
Yeah.
like coffee culture,
Yeah.
but we don't have that many unique, like independently owned coffee shops. We're big on Starbucks here.
Yeah.
But anyways, incorporated versus not. All right, let's try and bang these questions out.
Best place to watch sunrise or sunset on
Okay.
Oahu.
Kailua sunrise.
Manikai Pillbox Sunrise.
Sunset. What, Kenny? I want to know your opinion on sunset because you're a little more newcomer to the island.
I mean, I could be general and say anywhere in Waianae, but what I would say is
Always works.
I like sitting at 604 Beach House at Pokai Bay.
Which I still haven't
and
been to.
having, you know, firecracker shrimp and a beer or whatever, just enjoying it that way. Pink pillbox in Waianae, if you can time it right.
Cole, you been up there for sunset?
Yeah.
How long does it take to get down? I never done it. I need to do it.
It's a little bit quicker down than up.
Yeah, I
It's
bet.
not like slide down, but
Okay, so west side.
West side. I mean,
But North
obviously-
Shore works too. The way
North Shore
Oahu
works.
is,
Yeah, certain times of
it
the year.
points like kind of points northwest. So
Mhm.
more summer, right?
Yeah.
Like North Shore,
Yeah.
because it's kind of northwest shore. Like you get some amazing sunsets.
That's
from
my
Haleiwa
favorite
and
sunset
Mokuia.
spot is summertime North Shore.
Yeah. Have you
Diana
done
Point, to
much
be
west
specific.
side sunset though?
Not really. I mean,
Ko'olina's got an
Yeah.
amazing sunset
Yeah, we've go to
situation.
Roy's for lunch or early dinner, and then just go across the street and grab a drink at Longboards and sit there and
Yeah.
watch it from there. It's awesome there too.
Yeah. You can't go wrong. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Got another one?
Okay. Abel says, any future roads or routes to relieve traffic on Farrington Highway? It seems like the west side is destined for future development and gentrification.
I understand. I just went over the weekend. There's some politicians that want to create a road Mauka, so towards the mountains, that runs parallel to the Farrington, and there are other people who are against it. So if ever that's what they'll do, a more Mauka road parallel, I think it would relieve a lot. But I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
yeah, and as of right now, there's nothing on the docket to do that. so.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just an idea. What? Anything else?
Can you give me information about land tenure versus a leasehold? Not sure the correct term.
Sure. Really quick, fee simple. You own the land. That's all the real estate you've ever thought of is fee simple. In Hawaii, because leasehold's so prominent, it becomes a question here. But leasehold is when this is the land, Mahe owns it. She puts a 99-year lease on it, let's say, and then you put the building on the land. I own my proportionate interest in this building, or maybe I own the actual house that sits on the land, but Mahe owns the land. So because this land lease is expiring, it's a depreciating asset when it's a leasehold. We typically almost always say avoid them.
Mhm.
That's the shorthand. And if you see a deal that's too good to be true,
That's the only thing I was going to add. If it looks too good to be true, it's probably a
it's
leasehold.
almost guaranteed a leasehold. Or Hawaiian homelands, which
Yeah.
is a version of leasehold.
Yeah.
Mooney says, music scene Big Island ?
I mean, shout outs to Pepper. I saw Khalil
Oh yeah,
Watson.
Kona Town, Pepper.
Yeah.
They got some good bands that come out of there. But like, if you mean like live music scene, like to go, there's just not that much.
Struggling.
Yeah, there's not that much. I mean, we went to like, Punalu'u Bakery, and they're like, we do live music every morning. It was like adorable, but like not like you're not
Yeah.
traveling. It was like like three super old uncles like playing and singing kanikapila. It was like uncles doing kanikapila or like, jam session or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, Hawaii in general could do a lot better with live music, but Big Island, as rural as it is just not as much of a scene.
You slipping out to Kaneohe.
Pretty soon, but I have to use the bathroom.
Okay. I mean, you could have just said Kaneohe.
TMI.
Aiden has to go do a thing. Take the power, turn the power off, turn off all the breakers in this home, so that one of our clients can have this thing. You know, he's serving our clients. Long story short. Anything else, Kenny? Up to date?
Team G. When is Derek getting back on the mats? We're gonna roll again.
Who's this? Team G. Do I know you, Team G? You know, I have a client that trains here, and I'm just sore, bro. I'm old for jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was my life, and the time commitment and physical taxing, you know, it's just, I don't know.
It's not the current season.
It's not the season of life for it. If my kid, what'll happen is if one of my kids take a liking to it, then I'll get back into it. If that doesn't happen, I just might have, you know, when you do jujitsu as intensely and longly as I have and done the things I've done, it'll always be a part of me. But I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe when you come, that'll be our housewarming. We'll go train, do jujitsu.
Plus, too, like you're like me, like you're obsessive about things that you're passionate about. So like the level of like time commitment and like brain space that would be occupied by that, it'd just be like so big. Like we could never do anything else. Like I can't paddle now because the level of commitment that would take would be like, well, how am I supposed to have a full-time job and paddle? Like I could never do that.
I mean, jujitsu, my marriage was on the on the brinks because I was just obsessed with jujitsu. It's that's facts. It reminds me of a story when Mahe and I first met each other. Pretty like shorthand version was like, I was like, I don't know if you're obsessive enough to be successful in this industry. That's what I tell everyone is I don't know if you really want this smoke. Like you have to be obsessed, and I just don't know if that's you. And you know, I didn't know Mahe, but she's like,
okay. It's like, that's cute.
I don't know if you're obsessive enough to handle me, kind of thing. All right. As someone who doesn't make, if Aiden comes back in here, we're going to close on a certain thing and leave your questions. If you're watching this after the fact, we'll get to you next time. As someone who doesn't make a six-figure income, what's the chance of ever being able to own a home on Oahu? The prices are just ridiculous. Oh, so, well, I helped these two teachers buy a home
I
in
was
Mililani,
literally
Mauka.
just thinking a teacher salary.
Yeah, I know multiple teachers, but the waiting isn't going to help your situation.
Yeah.
You got to start. You gotta put that first stone down and then put another one down. Get into the market. I describe it like this: the market is like a river, a rushing river, flowing river. Trying to outsave the market, the housing market specifically, is like trying to run next to that river and outrun it. A couple of things happen. You may not be that fast, meaning your savings rate may not be that good, and or you may get exhausted, meaning you're tired of living that Dave Ramsey saving kind of way. And so most people can't outrun the river at all and or for long enough. What would be better is if you built a canoe, i.e. get a starter home, jump in the water with the canoe and paddle. Now you're going faster than the river. And that's buying a home and getting started.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can exit the river at any given time because sometimes you got rocks, i.e. a down market. And you got to be strategic about how you do that. But it's not too hard to navigate. Most people do well in the river, you know. So, yeah, best place for poke and shave ice. Shave ice,
Ululani.
I was a doubter. Ululani is the best. The only thing comparable used to have Uncle Clay's House of Pure Aloha.
Is that closed or something?
I think it closed.
Okay.
There was another one that was similar. It was like one of the ones in Maui Island Magic. I don't know, but it was like a bougie.
Yeah.
But Ululani's is just, man, I will get diabetes for Ululani. It is amazing.
What about
swimming?
poke?
Oh, poke.
Oh, poke.
Tamara's Foodland.
Everybody can say something different.
Yeah. I feel like starter poke, like I think if you for like starter poke pack,
Poke
like
starter pack.
if you're not a poke connoisseur, right? Like going just the just the like act of going into a food land and seeing like 20 different types of poke will be enough to be like, oh damn. So
Can you see if Aiden's gonna come back in? Someone said what swimming proficiency? Aiden, you want to talk about Steve real quick?
he has food in his mouth. So
What swimming proficiency should I have to live in Hawaii? No need any. I know Hawaiians that don't go in the water.
Yeah. But if you want to be in the water, please do learn how to swim.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
Don't go to Sandy's if you don't know how to swim.
Oh, yeah,
And
no.
don't go
Don't
to
go to
anywhere with short
Sandy's.
break if you haven't been on island for a while, or at least like haven't done short.
You could be
Sit down
Michael
and watch.
Phelps.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
go to Sandy's.
Just,
you got nothing to do with
Swimming doesn't have anything to do
Yeah,
with
my
short
big
break.
thing is like, please sit down on the shore and observe for a good minute, like 20 minutes or
talk to the
something.
lifeguards.
Talk to the lifeguards.
Would you
and-
recommend I go out?
Yeah.
And chances are they'll say no if it's a dangerous beach.
Yeah.
So one of the things we put up, I want to close this out. One of the things we put up on the thumbnail was should Steve buy? So I'll give the context of who Steve is while you finish chewing your Nature Valley bar because Aiden's about to go run an errand for our clients. Steve is a person who is coming to Hawaii probably or may only stay a year and has a couple homes on the mainland. So obviously a sophisticated, experienced buyer, and he's coming in saying, should I buy? Now, whether he's had conversations with other agents or not, he knows that the typical cliche answer is, it's always a great time to buy. You should buy and I should get a commission. And that's not how we do business. And so Aiden, very well trained, but also just very solid himself, crushed that buyer's appointment consultation and gave him some guidance because the answer could be yes. And I don't know entirely what you said, so I'm curious. See, what should Steve buy, Aiden? Should Steve buy?
So I still have to do the buyer's consultation with him.
It was
He
a convo.
He came in at like 8 a.m, and I was just like, "What's up? It's your boy." And he's just kind of giving me the rundown, like, "Hey, I'm only here for a year. There's going to be no extension, and I'm going to move back."
He's already on island.
No, February.
He'll
So he's going to be February to February. And then after that, he's like, yeah, I don't have any plans to extend or anything like that. I'm going to be here for a year, and then I'm going to move back with my mom in Colorado. I've got 2 properties, one I'm living in right now and one that's a rental that I bought last year. He was like, I want to know like if I should buy, should I not buy? And his situation is he's getting $200 a day for hotel, and he's getting $150 a day for food.
And that'll last the whole year.
That'll last the whole year, every day. And the government was like, yeah, hotel hop. Tell him you're military and get a discount. Fly by.
And if you like eating, you could eat ramen bowl every day.
I would eat 3 ramen bowls, $5, and sleep in a tent.
Okay.
But I was like, well, okay, well, first, like, what do you want from the house? And he was like, well, theoretically, I don't want to cash flow it. I was like, well, how much money do you want to put down? He's like, 0. I was like, okay, well,
That's not going to happen.
We're kind of going back and forth, and I was like, look, like you can look in these sorts of areas, like you want to be closer to Fort Shafter. There's also Mililani, which is closer to Schofield. And I was like, but what if you just rented a 1-bedroom apartment with a full kitchen? You pay, let's say, $2,000 a month, right? He's getting, let's call it $350 a day. $350 a day, times that by 30 days, you're making over $10,000 a month. You pay $2,000 to rent, and then another $2,000, right, in living or food, gas.
So his savings rate is like $7,000 a month.
$7,000 a month, right? You do that for 12 months. I think he has a little more pay than that. He said 18,000. I didn't really dig that deep into it on the phone,
Okay.
but I was just
plus the per diem to be here
Yeah.
every year.
that's what I'm thinking. So I ran and I was like, well, if you rented, you'd be walking away from Oahu with over 6 figs in your bank account. Why don't you just buy in Denver again and then buy yourself a multifamily, live in a room, put 3.5%, 5% down, house hack it, and then, wherever you want to pivot from there, you could sell one and buy another house, a bigger house, or upgrade it. Like you've got investment so you can cash out. And he's like, oh, like, you're right. And I was like, but if you want to explore buying on Oahu, we can have that conversation too. But
Can I provide a more simple, concise? That's all. That's awesome. The root question is, does he want to be an investor in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can buy and not. I don't consider you an investor if you're a local family is going to buy, live there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an investment of sorts? Sure, because you can pull out equity. You can go, you bought for $100,000. We get aunties bought for $100,000. It's worth $1 million. They can go leverage that money and do stuff with it if they're that sophisticated.
Not really like truly investor either. If it's like a temporary investor, like we're going to throw some renters and take a loss for now, but 5 years when we retire, that's lifestyle wise, we want to live there.
Yeah.
That's different too.
So this person, knowing they're going to leave, it's like, okay, well, would you make an appreciation play?
Right.
He's not going to cash flow at zero down.
Mm-hmm.
So loan to value, 100% loan to the value because you're doing a zero down via loan. It's not a cash flow play. In fact, it's negative cash flow,
right?
Because you'll be cash flowing negative. But do you want to make an appreciation play here?
Right.
Now, let's say you are in with the people who do the economic forecasting for Target, and they're an emerging city is St. Louis, Missouri, or Dallas, or whatever. And they're going to build a new Target. Maybe go buy a house there with all your money and make an appreciation play there. If you want to make an appreciation play and you don't have a year here, consider it, because no other place are you going to get to use your VA loan, get into $1 million for zero down. Now, what's the math on that? It's just simple math. $500 a month, negative rent, negative cash flow, $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. So 6 times X. Let's even say 10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
6,000 negative a year times 10 years. Now there's roof and there's all this.
Mm-hmm.
So some people really not nerdy, but really nuanced, detailed people will be like, but what about all the capital expenditures? We're just keeping it simple. 60,000 over 10 years negative to be in this investment. But how much is that $1 million home going to appreciate?
That 60,000 loss over 10 years, you make that up in 2 years worth of appreciation. Not even 2 years.
30 grand in the
40 grand in the first year.
I mean, they're probably going to make 600 grand
By the
in
end of it.
appreciation in those 10 years, right?
Mhm.
Probably.
But
We don't know, but probably.
But the better question to ask would be, can you survive that monthly payment being in the negative for that long?
Sounds like he can.
If you can do it and you want an appreciation play in Hawaii and you can handle the monthly being negative.
So a lot of people will say, yeah, you should always buy. Well, if you need to buy, exit, can't take that negative cash flow, don't want that negative cash flow, you rather go to Chattanooga and buy a cash flowing property, hoping for appreciation. Investing, there's, usually it's an inverse relationship. Cash flow goes up, appreciation goes down. Appreciation goes up, cash flow goes down. Usually, if you can find both, that's a unicorn. So the simpler question, right, is do you want to make an appreciation play? Now, if we want to sell, which we are not traditional salespeople in the way that we treat you, right? But if we wanted to sell and sell you on that dream, we could show you that appreciation schedule, the projected appreciation schedule, and maybe he decides to say yes, and maybe that's not a bad idea.
Right.
Just depends. So some people are like, well, no, I listen to Bigger Pockets and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Never negative cash flow. It's like, okay, but what's his deal? Is he going to be working the next 10 years no matter what?
What's his life situation?
If I increase your cash flow by $300 buying a Augusta, Georgia $120,000 rental, what you can do with that $300, like $3,600 a year? How's that going to change your life?
Can't even max your Roth IRA with that.
You can't even max your, but you're going to be working the next 10 years either way.
Yeah.
Take a vacation to Hawaii.
But yeah, you
not
can't
even a plane
even.
ticket.
Where does that money go?
But
Is it Snickers bars and fast food and a fancy dinner on an event occasional day or you is it actually cash flow negative? Yes, month to month. Cash flow is always associated with month to month, right?
Yeah.
But if you're losing $6,000 a year in bleeding monthly income, but your appreciation is conservatively 2 or 3%, are you actually losing money?
and more like 3 to 5, right? And so it could be a very good play for Steve. It just depends on his wealth project, what he wants to do to build wealth over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
And that, I think, is a big difference between us and a lot of other teams. The other team is only going to focus on an exit strategy as it pertains to the plan that is going to cash them out and get them paid. Our team is going to make sure that we explore all of your exit strategies. What do you actually want? What is your long-term goal? Not just, hey, yeah, buy a house now because we're trying to make a deal. Da, 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 da. And that is, I think, a huge part of why we have the success we have and we get the trust that we do, because it's not just about making a sale. It's about, okay, what do you,
and met a person who was like, oh, I have all kinds of off-market things for you that in that range. What they don't exist.
Yeah.
You cannot get that. Like you can't in this community, you can't get it for this price. It just it's a lie to try to acquire the client. And that's not something we do. Close this out.
I think a bird in the wind was like, chirping a little bit, something about real estate different today.
Real estate different. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys, if you watching this, leave us questions. Just like we did today, we'll open the next one with it. At least we did it after my spiel. We'll open the next one with your questions if you leave them after the fact. And look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Go to coreteamhawaii.com.
Tyler.
Scroll to the bottom. Can you scroll to the bottom?
Tyler,
Cannot?
hit me up. Hit me up. I
We'll
want to talk
scroll to the bottom.
spreadsheets.
Hey, I have a last request. I'm going to take the last word. Shocker.
Shocking.
Help me hold Kenji accountable. We're supposed to get a new montage on here.
Boy.
So go to Core Team.
If I gotta look at Derek and Long's
Go
drugs
to
one more time.
coreteamhawaii.com.
The mask half down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still wearing COVID mask in there.
Oh man.
Hold us. Hey,
Next live.
when you come to
heard
the
it.
next live, call Kenji out if that's not a new montage. Look, that girl, she moved off island already.